Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Sabikui Bisco episode 11, the penultimate episode of this season. It has 12 episodes, right? Or is it 13? I'm not sure. I think it's 12. Not many series nowadays go for more than 12 episodes for some reason, but hey, it's the way it is, apparently. Right. In the last episode, a lot happened. First of all, the last episode was actually good, which is a nice change of pace from episodes 8 and 9, which were shit. Episode 10 was actually a comeback to form, in my opinion. It was actually what makes Sabikui Bisco a good show. Nice action scenes, some great and imaginative fights, uh, the ancient technology that is used there being completely incomprehensible, right? Ganesha canon is, its own thing, but the Tetsujin being a robotic skeleton with a body made of liquid rust, and it apparently needs a human soul inhabiting it to run. That's a completely outlandish idea. It being vulnerable to mushrooms is another completely outlandish idea, and it works in Sabikui Bisco because Sabikui Bisco is all about those outlandish ideas, right? People who rust, mushrooms that grow in split second, weird amalgamations of vehicles and animals, all that stuff. That's Sabikui Bisco, and episode 10 really was an embodiment of that, an embodiment of the essence of this series. That's why it was so great. But story wise, what happened was that the Tetsujin was revived, probably thanks to. I mean, not probably, we know that it was revived thanks to Kurokawa falling into the vat of liquid rust, where the Tetsujin's skeleton also was. So I'm assuming the rust made up the Tetsujin's body, and Kurokawa's soul somehow get transferred into it. And now Kurokawa Tetsujin is on a rampage, probably headed. No, I think he's headed towards Imihama, and he wants to destroy Imihama. Maybe, probably. Initially, I thought that he's headed towards the valley of whatever, where the pipe snakes live, to destroy them, to make sure that nobody ever will get access to Rust Eater. But I don't think he's headed there. I think he's headed towards Imihama. Mm. And Milo is, of course, there to try and stop him by impersonating Bisco. I think he's impersonating Bisco. I don't think Bisco inhabits Milo's body, although that might very well be the case. Who the fuck knows? It's Sabikui Bisco we're talking about. It's entirely possible that Bisco and all the other mushroom keepers are mushroom based living life forms, and a piece of Bisco's spore was inhaled by Milo, and now Milo is also Bisco. I'm just completely pulling theories out of my ass, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually a thing. I don't think it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. What else happened? We got to meet Tyrol again. She's on her way to help our heroes. Uh, Apparently, maybe. I don't know. She is in the vicinity, right? She was attacked by former goons of Kurokawa, but their mind controlling mushrooms just fell off. And then more Kurokawa's goons appeared in a rush because they're running away. They wanted to refuel their helicopter, and it was all very chaotic. And I don't know what will Tyrol do because the episode cut off. So whether Tyrol is gonna steal the chopper and help our heroes, or she's gonna run, or she's gonna get to the Tetsujin faster than they can run, and not faster than they can run. She's gonna get to the Tetsujin in time. That's what I wanted to say. We don't know how far it is. So, although now she was able to see it we were able to see it from the location Tyrell is at, so I'm assuming it's fairly close. Whether she's gonna run or she's gonna help, that remains to be seen. I think she's gonna help. And anything else that bears mention? I don't think so. I think that makes for an apt summary of episode 10. So now let's go with episode 11. Let's watch it. Let's give you subs. Let's give myself sound. And I can already see that we're starting from the OP. So I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna start episode 11 of Sabikui Bisco, version by Subs, please. In 3, 2, 1, go. And now I can take a sip of tea. To not waste anybody's time. And it's white tea with citrus. Unspecified citrus, but citrus. I added a slice of lemon to it because why not? It's nice. As far as what kind of citrus it is, hard to tell. Probably lemon. Maybe some orange. Or like a mandarin. Or, no. I think it might be kumquat, actually. I think it might be kumquat. I'll have to verify it. I'll have to take a look at the box and see maybe the actual citrus is listed. So I'm gonna update you in some future video whenever I drink this tea again. I think it's kumquat. Okay, wasn't the title of this episode something like Return, Revival, or Bisco, or something like that? That makes me think that Bisco will return in some form. I'm thinking the other Tetsujin. The Tetsujin that's in the fishing village. Okay, so I'm Bisco, yeah. Okay, so Tyrell is with Pawu. That's some great music in the background. Tyrell, you guys are going to fight a Tetsujin. You better read the user manual. It might have some weak points listed. Can't read the language? Ah. It's very technical. Okay. Ooh. She wants Milo, of course. Okay, so how did they meet? Because Tyrell was at the base where Pau's people were. Now she's not. And she's driving Pau there. And what happened here? Did I skip an episode? I don't think I did, but... Let me check my channel. No, Sabikui Bisco episode 10. Hmm. Oh, right, there was a big explosion. Right, I forgot. But where is it now? Is it ignoring them and headed towards Imihama? That's actually a good question. What is rust? Yeah? There has to be. Imihama, where else? Yeah, I'm with you, Jabi. I'm with you there. Okay, so yeah, Imihama. Bisco? So is Bisco actually inhabiting? Okay. Or is it just metaphorical? Bisco's soul, as in who he is, his motivations, etc., etc., the essence of him, the essence of Bisco as a character was passed along onto Milo, or is it like literally Bisco's soul now inhabits Milo's body? Interesting. Instant rusting. They gonna crack? Blood? Blood. Oh, more voice changer? Yeah, it's another trader, it's another Tetsujin. You're living in the head of one. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta bail. You gotta bail. You can't stop it. You can rebuild. You gotta bail. Yeah, exactly. You can rebuild. I mean, it's no longer even the same city. Theseus' ship and all. But your lives are more important. As long as you are alive, you can rebuild the city. Yeah, exactly. As long as you're not dead, you can rebuild. Just, make sure you're running at an angle away from it, not like along its path. Ooh, booby traps. Use this distraction and run. Don't look backwards. Run. Run and hide. Just run. It's already distracted. You're just pulling its attention towards your people. It was turned the other way. The Tetsujin was literally looking the other way. Yeah, that's not gonna do shit. And there goes Nuts. Or will Milo save him? Yep. With a puffball. No rust? And here's Bisco. Bisco Boshi. Bis... Bilo. Makes me wonder, is maybe Bisco's body gonna inhabit this Tetsujin? Bisco's soul? What the hell was that attack? And instead of using rust as the body proper, it would use mushrooms? Maybe? That'll be kinda dope. Rust Tetsujin versus Mushroom Tetsujin. I like this idea. Right, iron crabs don't rust. That's an amazing asset. Having Akutagawa is actually super useful. Oh, Pawu! Hello! And Tyrol. And who's piloting the plane? Yes. Oh, Imihama Watch. Okay, that's a lot of escargot fighters. Artillery. Probably not gonna do shit against it. You need like mushroom rockets and mushroom projectiles for your tanks. Okay, Imihama Brodel. It's a Tetsujin! Yeah, conventional weapons aren't gonna work. Hmm. Another big blast attack? Oh? Henshin? Is it gonna blow rust at them? Rust wind, essentially. Yeah, rust wind. Oh, that's a lot of rust. Oh, that's a lot of rust. That's a tsunami of rust. Protect the car with Akutagawa? Can it even work? That's a lot of rust. Okay, so Akutagawa works perfectly as a rust shield. What about Pau? What's that? Bishamon mushroom poison? What does it do? Besides changing his voice. A Bishamon, if I'm not mistaken, is a goddess of war? So does it give him like more attack, essentially? Makes him faster, stronger, etc. Music kicks in. Hell yeah. Okay, so you can at least stall it. But it can face tank any projectiles that aren't mushrooms. This is Sabikui Bisco. This is what it's all about. Oh, straight in the eye. Yeah, how can you hope to defeat it, honestly? What's the plan? Just keep shooting arrows at it? Hasn't been effective so far. Because you're one with Bisco? Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, but your shots don't really do shit, so the fact that you can shoot doesn't really matter much. Okay, so arrows don't do anything, but a knife is an effective weapon. Excuse me? What's that? Something that belonged to Bisco? Oh, his goggles. Yeah, I thought that stabbing with a knife isn't gonna be a permanent solution. Should have probably, cut open the outer layer and spread some spores inside so that mushrooms sprout from within, or is it exactly what he did? Excuse me? Excuse me? It's what? I mean, that's cool and all, but how the fuck? Why is his hand? Oh, he lost a hand. And the hand he lost is glowing now. I love the music. And that went by fast. That's not what I expected. I did not expect Kurokawa Tetsujin to give birth to Bisco through his back. That was at the very bottom of my list of theories. I wonder how are they gonna explain it? Because rule of cool is fine and all, but it needs some sort of an explanation. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna think about it a little bit in the closing thoughts section of this video, or maybe even earlier. I don't know. I need time to think. Hmm. I've got nothing so far. Was that mutated Akutagawa? Bowen Bisco. Okay, that was great. First thing I have to say, that was great. Genuinely, actually great. But oh no, not okay. Didn't switch scenes. Good. This scene, this scene. Yeah. Let's go through it again, shall we? Yeah, that's the OP. We've all seen it many a time. Yeah, they skipped a lot. One thing I can say for certain, they skipped a lot because now Tyrol is with Pau, If you've read the source material, did they skip it in the source material as well? Or was it like a separate couple of chapters that were about Tyrol and Pawu, and it would need like 2 episodes about it with just Tyrol and Pawu, so they just skipped it to get into the action? Or was it this exact way in the source material as well? I'd be curious to hear about it. Just, as long as you keep it spoiler free, that's perfectly fine with me if you give me some additional information, something that was in the source material but wasn't shown in the anime. That's always okay. You have my full permission to, give me additional context. Just don't spoil me. That's a funny looking car. A very short 2-seater truck. Tetsujin manual. I wonder if it's gonna become relevant. Or is it just a complete, not Chekhov's gun, a red herring? And yeah, of course, Pawu cannot read it. I love how her expressions change here. She gets grumpier and grumpier with each page. Yeah, of course, she's not gonna understand it. It's probably an extremely technical manual. Now, question is, why do they even have Tetsujin manuals? Hasn't this war been over for like, or rather, Tetsujin attacks, weren't they taking place like a couple hundred years ago? I'm not entirely clear on the timeline, I gotta admit. Why would they just randomly find a Tetsujin manual? That's kind of odd if you ask me. Especially if the Tetsujin were, quote unquote, the enemy, right? They attacked Japan after all, so why would there be a Tetsujin manual in Japan? Seems kind of odd, but whatever. Also, kind of weird that it doesn't come into play, at least not in this episode. It very well might come into play in the next one. We'll see. And Akutagawa is an incredible asset. It really is. Iron crab that cannot rust, has a super hard shell, super strong pincers. Yeah, at the very beginning of this series, I wasn't quite fond of the idea of Akutagawa, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm generally not very fond on mascot characters. More often than not, I find them just plain annoying. And Akutagawa very much seemed like a mascot character. Instead of having a talking cat or a flying dog fairy or whatever, they just happen to have a crab that they use as means of transportation. But no, Akutagawa is actually relevant. It is actually helpful, and it's been proven many a time that Akutagawa is one of their biggest assets, honestly. Not their bows, not their mushrooms, not their medicine. They are, of course, great, but Akutagawa is the thing that allows them to do all sorts of things, right? It's a means of transportation, it's amazing help in battle, it can protect them from rust, it can protect them from explosions, Akutagawa is great. Best girl of the series. Yeah, Jabi was hurt. Okay, what was said here? This all that talk about an automaton exploding and bringing the world to ruin wasn't just some fairy tale. Oh, I can tell the ancients worked together in pursuit of something with that Tetsujin. It has that air of conviction about it. It rusts everything away, not just metal, plants, animals, even people. That again makes me wonder about the nature of rust, first of all, and about the nature of Tetsujin. Tetsujin seem like too destructive of a weapon to use. Kinda. Although, yeah, it turns everything into a complete barren land. It's kind of like a nuke. I think the comparison of Tetsujin to nukes is apt. They are very similar. They are actually very similar. But that also leaves a question: why were the Tetsujin created? I mean, they were created as implements of war, sure, but why was something that can rust things in particular created, right? It seems very weird. You can use I forgot what it's called. I think gamma bombs. It's called gamma radiation. Essentially, it only kills living cells, living creatures by completely destroying their DNA. If you drop a gamma bomb, a theoretical gamma bomb, because none were created as far as I know, on a city, everybody and everything in this city dies. Every human, every animal, every plant, every microbe, every bacteria, every virus just dies. But the city remains completely it remains completely undisturbed, perfectly inhabitable. None of the infrastructure gets destroyed. There is no fire, there is no lingering radiation, nothing. So if they wanted some implement of war if humans wanted some implement of war that doesn't turn the land into a nuclear wasteland, something like a gamma bomb would be, I'm assuming, even easier to achieve than building a huge fuck of robot with body made of some magical rust, right? Tetsujin seem very extra, which makes me again question their origin. Have they been created by humans using human technology, or was rust discovered somewhere so that humanity didn't have to think of creating, say, those gamma bombs? They had rust and they decided to use rust. But where did that rust come from? Was it already there on Earth? Did it appear in some laboratory? Did it come in a meteorite from outer space? Or have Tetsujin been created by aliens to conquer the Earth? I don't know. There's so many theories, but one thing for certain, the origin of rust is important. It's important, and I think it's gonna be the biggest mystery in this series. Not just in the anime, but also in the source material. If you're up to date with the source material, again, do tell me, do they talk about Rust? More about its origins? Do they maybe set off to discover the origin of Rust? Or is it not really mentioned? It's more of a force of nature kind of thing, an element of their world that nobody really questions. As long as you know, don't spoil me anything, don't actually tell me what the rust is and where it's coming from, that's fine if you mention if they even answer that question in the source material. That's what I'm interested in. Because if they do, and if no season 2 of Sabikui Bisco is on the horizon anytime soon, I might actually read the manga. Or is there a manga? Or is it only a light novel? I'm not sure. I think there is a manga. But I might be mistaken. There might be only a light novel. I don't know. I don't know. If there's only a light novel, chances are I'm not gonna read it. But if there is a manga, sure, I'm gonna give it a look. I can tell the ancients worked together in pursuit of something with that Tetsujin. Yeah, what exactly? Guess all that talk about an automaton exploding and bringing the world to ruin wasn't just some fairy tale. Could it be that the rust in Japan, the fact that rust is spread everywhere, is precisely because some Tetsujin exploded and all the rust gets scattered across the land? Interesting. But yeah, if rust is a god, then what is the rust eater that can destroy rust? It's a god eater. If the Rust is a god of death, then Rust Eater is the death god eater. That's very profound, isn't it? But I like this. I like this description. I wonder if there's some kind of correlation between mushrooms and rust, and so do I. So do I. Some correlation must exist. Because, first of all, Rust Eater itself, right? It's a mushroom that specifically, in no uncertain terms, is a mushroom that cures rusting, that destroys rust. It, as far as we know, it doesn't have any other properties, any other benefits. It just destroys rust. So it had to have evolved or been created for a reason. Second of all, other mushrooms also have an effect on rust. Right? The Tetsujin completely shrugs off any attacks by tanks, artillery, missiles, and whatnot. But just an arrow that makes a mushroom grow is something that actually damages the Tetsujin, or at least bothers it. So even regular mushrooms, whatever the mushrooms that Milo uses are, have something to do with rust. If I'm not mistaken, even regular mushrooms can be used to clear an area of rust. It doesn't have to be a rust eater. Right? You grow a random mushroom in some spot, and soon enough, all the rust disappears from there. So there has to be some correlation, there has to be some connection. Mushrooms were probably created as means against the rust. Possibly the people who were attacked by Tetsujin created the mushrooms as a means to fight the Tetsujin, whose bodies are made of liquid rust. So if you have something that can, delete, remove rust, chances are with enough of that you can weaken a Tetsujin and eventually defeat it. If you grow enough mushrooms on it so that they suck up all the rust, the Tetsujin is no more. Only a skeleton remains. Interesting. It really, really makes me interested in the history of this world. It really does. There's so many unknowns and so many tidbits that just peek through from the past into the current. Right? I love it. Reminds me a lot of Arknights, actually. The world of Arknights also has a lot of history. There is so many things with unknown origin, with unknown purpose and whatnot. And only in some events, in some character files, in the description of some material, in here, in there, you get little peeks into that past, and you're trying to place it all together. The same thing happens here, and I love it. I absolutely love when any piece of media does it. Mushrooms also evolved thanks to rust. Yeah. I looked into his eyes, he's anxious. And Jabiko's Milo Bisco seems kinda odd. He just passed his soul along. I think it was metaphorical. Although, Bisco was revived in the end, so maybe through the proximity of Milo? When Milo was on the back of the Tetsujin, Bisco's soul got transferred from Milo into the Tetsujin, and Bisco's soul somehow recreated his body within that Tetsujin? I don't know. I have no clue. Or Bisco was inside of the Tetsujin all this time and was just regenerating, and then he heard Milo call out and woke up. That's another possibility. Oh, that's cool. The rockets actually fly up. Oh, that's attention to detail. Oh, that's great. That's some great attention to detail. First, you see the ejection blast in the back. Then it gets bigger. Then the rocket shows up. then it flies out with the rudders still partially folded, and then the rudders fully unfold. And then you get the whatchamacallit, not the engine, the propulsion system, I'm gonna call it, engage, and it flies off. And again, rudders folded, rudders front rudders unfolded, back rudders partially unfolded, all rudders unfolded, propellant engages, and the rocket flies away. That's some stunning attention to detail. I did not expect this kind of attention to detail, but here we are, and I love it. Poor little fellas, rusted away. I wonder if they are entirely rusted. Can Rust Eater still help them? Rust Eater doesn't work by literally eating rust away, right? Because if it did, then when Milo was rusted and Bisco injected him with the Rust Eater, there would be like patches of raw skin left where rust was, because the Rust Eater ate the rust and exposed flesh remained. But no, it seems like the Rust Eater was able to turn that rusted flesh back into flesh. So that makes me wonder, if you inject someone like this dude with Rust Eater, will they just revive? Or will they be dead but flesh again? If they were to be fully revived, and that's a bit of a crack theory, but it came to my mind, so I'm gonna share it. Could it be that rust was initially developed as a means of space travel, essentially, to put people in stasis, to rust them, fly them off somewhere for 50-100 years, and then when they land, when they get to their destination, some automated system would inject them with Rust Eater, and they would be back alive and well. That's an interesting concept. I don't think it's a thing. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's how it is, but it's an interesting concept. So I thought I'm gonna share. Maybe it's gonna, give some inspiration to some of you. Maybe someone is writing a book and needs an idea or something. Feel free to use it. Royalty free. Another cool bit of attention to detail, claw marks. Yeah, Milo clearly isn't doing well, and that's apparently thanks to the Bishamon toxin, or because of the Bishamon toxin. It has negative effect on your body, it withers you away. The benefits of it are unclear besides the voice change. I'm assuming from the name it also gives Milo increased combat capabilities, but it hasn't been stated outright. I really thought this other Tetsujin skeleton is gonna come into play. I really was kind of hoping that it's gonna be used as a new body for Bisco, except the body made of mushrooms, of mycelium, not of rust. That would be a very interesting, not duality, but it would make for a very interesting final battle kind of thing, right? Akutagawa, Kurokawa Tetsujin, who embodies rust, and Bisco Tetsujin, who embodies mushrooms. The embodiment of rust versus the embodiment of mushrooms. That would be kind of cool, kind of poetic. But apparently we're not going into that direction, so whatever, it's fine. I don't mind that much. It's coming straight for us, and yeah, we have to run. Thank you for making a good decision. And fuck you for making a bad decision. I don't understand it. I honestly don't understand his decision. to try and distract the Tetsujin, it's already distracted. It's on its way to Inihama. It's already distracted. If you run away, if you hide in those bushes, if you hide behind this rock to hide from his field of view, you don't need a distraction. You can just let it pass. It's gonna destroy your city and then it's gonna head to Inihama. There. Problem solved. But no, Nuts wants to play the hero. And and he attracts Tetsujin's attention. Tetsujin was facing away from his group. Now Tetsujin is facing towards him and his group. That was a very stupid thing to do. That was a very stupid thing to do, Nuts. You're nuts. But, of course, Bilo to the rescue. Many authority, even that enormous power couldn't save you. I'll make sure to settle things with you. Yeah, the fight scenes are cool and all, but they feel very pointless. Because nothing works against Tetsujin. And don't get me wrong, I'm not, putting it against this episode. Absolutely not, because the fact that we're getting so many great fight scenes is cool. But I have to question Milo's thinking a little bit. I guess is what I'm trying to say. You've been shooting at that Tetsujin for a long time. You shot it in the head. You shot it everywhere, and it clearly doesn't work. It has some effect, but that effect isn't big enough to stop the Tetsujin, or even less to destroy it. So at that point, you stop for a moment. You still follow the Tetsujin, sure to not lose track of it, but you start thinking about some new strategy. Maybe set up a trap. Maybe set up an ambush. Maybe observe it for a moment and try to find its weak spot. Sorry, it's super late. Maybe try to find some mushroom breed that will have better effect on the Tetsujin. Maybe try mixing some mushroom spores with your blood or with Jabi's blood. Maybe mushroom keeper blood has an effect on other mushrooms, and you will be able to strengthen them. Maybe try creating some split arrow that will shoot 50 different kinds of mushrooms at it and see which one is the most effective. You try to change, to refine your strategy instead of just blindly firing. That's something I would fully expect of Bisco, to fire blindly at that Tetsujin and just, fire and fire and fire and fire and fire, and as soon as his fingers are cut off by the bowstring, then grab the string in his teeth and fire using his teeth, and when his teeth are broken, put it behind your ear and fire it with your ear. That's something I would expect from Bisco. Not from Milo. I would have expected a little bit more thought from Milo. I guess it might be playing into the fact that Milo is Bisco, so he's using Bisco's techniques. I don't think it's quite that deep. I think they just wanted to give us a couple more great fight scenes. And they did. Don't get me wrong, they fully succeeded in what they set off to do. And here comes Pawu, jumping down from an escargot fighter. What was that flick? Yeah, just a couple of random flicks. Because why not? And PNG slide into frame. Hit. And yes, Pawu is inhumanely strong. Being able to divert Tetsujin's blast this way. And Tyrol is here, and Jabi is here. I thought he was gravely wounded, but apparently not. And the entire Inihama watch is also here. Somehow they managed to mobilize everybody in a very short span of time. Back to the brothel. It's cool how it became a location, you know, and a characters. That doesn't flow well, but you know what I mean, right? It wasn't just a one-off thing that was shown in the first episode. It's actually a location that has some significance, and those are actually characters that have some significance. They aren't just random one-offs. Propeller, yeah. Rust wind. You can't really defend from that unless you have Akutagawa, who is, of course, immune to rusting. For a moment there, one of the frames made me think that Pawu might be entirely rusted through. I don't know which frame was it, but there was a frame that looked like Pawu is all rusted up, but apparently not. She's perfectly fine. Bishamon mushroom poison. I have no clue what it is, so I don't know how concerned I should be. I mean, I know that Milo is puking up blood and whatnot, and I know that Jabi is very much concerned about Milo using it, but without knowing its effects, I can't be particularly concerned about it. So, yeah, it is what it is. And he's already at Imihama, Dr. Panda, kinda. Yeah, shot in the eye, in the laser eye, and it still has the mouth. And it's still able to rip out that mushroom. It just rips off the mushroom and it's fine again. So kind of a pointless battle, really. Or maybe not pointless, but hopeless. Yeah, I think hopeless is the better word to use it. Hopeless, but without much of an attempt to make it hopeful by Milo. That's one thing that doesn't quite sit well with me, you know? Nothing particularly big that would completely mar my perception of this episode, but it doesn't sit well with me that he's not trying something new, anything new. Right? Use Akutagawa to punch through the outer shell of the Tetsujin and give Akutagawa a jar of mushroom spores. Right? So Akutagawa holds the mushroom spores in his claw, pierces through the Tetsujin, releases this, crushes the jar, and mushrooms sprout from within the Tetsujin. You know, something, some tactics to it, instead of just blindly firing. And now he's just going at it with a knife, and it hurts, apparently? Mushroom arrows didn't have this much of an effect. That's weird. That's weird and kinda inconsistent. I thought that he's gonna do what I mentioned with Akutagawa, right? Make a cut in the outer shell, cut it, slice it good, slice it open, slice it deep, and then shoot an arrow deep inside. Or release some spores or something so that they sprout from within. They sprout inside of the Tetsujin. But no, he cuts the outer shell and just sits there. Sure, the Tetsujin isn't moving, but it's gonna start moving soon. And lo and behold, it did start moving. What did I say? How is Milo even alive at this point? And here's the moment. The birth of Bisco. With his weird-ass glowy hand and light particles flowing around him. He has his pants, he has his belt, he even has his knife, but he lost a shirt somewhere along the line. Of course, you gotta show off the abs, I guess. Like, I would be fine if Bisco were to be reborn fully clothed, because he sunk into the lava, into the liquid rust fully clothed. I'd be fine if Bisco was born fully nude, because his body got reborn, but his clothes didn't. But partially dressed. I know what they were going for here, right? Super cool look, shirtless hero with a cape and only pants and a tactical belt and whatnot. And Bisco seems to be taking it in stride. He doesn't seem to mind at all that he just popped out of a Tetsujin's back. That he died and now he's not dead. I'd be fucking freaking out if I died and suddenly popped out of someone's back out of nowhere. Fully dressed except with my shirt missing. Unless Bisco had some divine revelation while he was dead. I like his glowing hand, I gotta say. It's a bit cheesy, but I have a weakness. I have a weakness for odd hands. There is some characters in those frontline that have one hand like a metal claw or something. Even in Kill la Kill, Ryuko having that red glove on one of her hands. Here, Bisco having a glowing hand. I'm a sucker for that stuff. I'm a sucker for bionics. I'm a sucker for magic glowing tattoos on just one arm, for that kind of stuff. I love when a character in Arknights has asymmetric originum infection. Moose is probably one of my favorite designs. Her single clawed hand. Geared up and ready for battle. Okay, let's take a look at the preview real quick. So just 2 rules for using a bow. Yeah. Running on Akutagawa. Bisco is rusting again? Yeah, it looks like he's rusting again. Oh, wait, is it some kind of a moment where Bisco is blinded by rust and he's like, Milo, be my eyes, I'm gonna pull the string and shoot. You direct my arrow. Can a deal? I think it might be. Second, have faith. And now Bisco is no longer rusted. Oh, for a moment, I thought that this is like Akutagawa on steroids. Bisco gave some weird mushroom to Akutagawa, or Akutagawa, I don't know, shed his shell and emerged as a huge crab, or a steel crab, because it was an iron crab, so now it's a steel crab. But no, it seems like it's Kurokawa being a big blob of rust and probably not having a good time. And yeah, Milo is gonna direct Bisco's arrow. I'll hit it, Bisco, because you have been blinded. Yeah, I see what they're going for. It's gonna be cheesy, but I think I'm gonna like it, because it's also gonna be cool. That was just a good episode. What else can I say? Episode 10 was going back to form. Episode 11 is back to form. Some really cool fights, some really cool action scenes, a lot of lore, but not like a lore dump, but a lot of stuff has been said that has further implications, and we don't know those implications yet, and we don't know the origin of the stuff that was said yet. Right? What's the origin of Rust? What's the origin of the Tetsujin? Why were they created? Were they created? Were they born? Were they a spontaneous creation? Did they come here from space? Did they come here from the inside of the Earth? It raises a lot of questions, lore-wise. And I'm all for it. I absolutely am. I love it when the existing world is mysterious. And there's like 17 dead civilizations that existed before, and it's all a mystery. I love settings like that. Absolutely adore them. What else? Bisco was revived, of course, and that's a big thing. Kinda makes episodes 8 and 9 ever so slightly better in hindsight, not by much. It makes them better by the virtue of, in the end, not having killed Bisco in an utterly dumb manner, right? Because if Bisco died because of events of episodes 8 and 9 and he stayed dead, that would be like one of the dumbest deaths in the history of anime. But now that Bisco isn't dead, that point becomes kind of moot. Don't get me wrong, episodes 8 and 9 were still absolutely horrendous, and every single character in both of those episodes combined had a single brain cell shared between them. But it makes the results, it makes the aftermath of those episodes more palatable. Because Bisco is not dead. And that's cool. We like Bisco. We don't want Bisco to die. Right? Right. Now, as to why and how was he revived? That's a big question. That's a big, big question. And I hope they answer that. Like on a fully technical level, not just some platitudes about, oh, I heard the cry of your soul, Milo, and I had to get back from the death. Sure, whatever, but where did your body come from? Right? He's been born out of rust. Is Bisco's body made of rust now? Didn't seem so. The particles around him were golden, not red. His hand was glowing. Did Milo shooting Bisco in the heart with a mushroom arrow caused some interaction with rust, and Bisco's body is now made of mushrooms? Something along those lines? Because mushrooms, seemingly any type of mushroom, sooner or later gets rid of rust? I have no clue. If Bisco got the mushroom eater injection, I would pretty much know the answer, right? He has mushroom eater in his veins, so he was immune to sinking in the rust. Maybe not. Maybe the rust kept eating him up, and the rust eater kept rebuilding him, so now his body is more mushroom than rust, and the rust eater went a step further and even rebuilt his arm, or something like that. But now I'm thinking it has to do with the arrow that Milo shot. But why raise up now? Because Milo called out to him? Maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible, but or maybe just coincidence that the time needed to rebuild Bisco's body was the time that Milo happened by and happened to mention Bisco or something. I've absolutely no clue. Usually I'm full of theories, but right now the only theory I can find is that Milo's arrow made Bisco a new mushroom-based body. Because if Kurokawa's soul can form liquid rust around a Tetsujin skeleton into a humanoid, Maybe Bisco's soul can form mushrooms into a humanoid shape? I don't know. I hope we're gonna get an answer in the next episode. That much I know for sure. And that much I hope for. And again, before I, talk about other things, if you know the answer to it, please don't tell me. I have full faith that it's gonna be answered in the next episode. Uh, Again, if there are some things missing that didn't make it to the adaptation, there's some additional context that there is in source material but not here, feel free to tell me about it. Spoilers, big no. Please don't. What else is there to talk about in this episode? I think everything that was I think everything that needed to be talked about has been talked about during the discussion section. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, unless something else comes to my mind. No, not really. Just that I need to know about the origin of Rust and the origin of Tetsujin, and I hope maybe it's gonna get a second season. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. I need to know how did Visco rebuild his body, because that's a big mystery, and I have a feeling it might be very relevant for whatever comes in the future. Because if Bisco's body is now made of mushrooms, that means he's like the ultimate mushroom keeper, right? Oh, you need some spores. Well, wait a minute. I'm just gonna. Here you are, fresh spores of Buletis. you know. Yeah, that would make Bisco the ultimate mushroom keeper. But would his body, if he is a mushroom, would his body still have the properties that are needed to make the Rust Eater work? That's interesting. Because if not, we have Jabi, and we probably have other mushroom keepers as well. But that would be interesting. Oh yeah, I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait. I really cannot wait for episode 12 of Sabikui Bisco. I hope it will be a worthy finale. And I have a feeling it might be. The final fight with Kurokawa, the final resolution of all of it. Maybe they're gonna find out a way to spread the mushroom, the Rust Eater throughout the land or something. I have full faith and full hopes for a good ending. That much for sure. Bisco seems to have been blinded in the preview. I don't know if it's permanent or is it temporary. I don't think Bisco's gonna die again, because that would be kind of, original, but also kind of shitty to bring a character back for 2 episodes and then kill them again. That might work for like Krillin in Dragon Ball, but not. No, Krillin or Yamcha. Who was it that they had to constantly revive with Dragon Balls? I don't remember. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We just need to wait for the next episode, and I am hyped. I am truly, and I'm gonna check one more thing. Is it 12 episodes or is it 11? Sabikui Bisco. 12 episodes. Okay. Okay, so the next episode will be the last. Oh man, another season done with. Time flies. Time surely flies. But time tells me it's been well over an hour of recording, so again, I'm gonna wrap it up here. So you guys, you tell me in the comments, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it as much as I do, or did you not like it? Was it a faithful adaptation, or did they skip a lot of things? Tell me what they skipped. I'd be interested to hear about it. What did you think of my reaction, of my theories? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Do you disagree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you have some more context for what I'm saying? Just, don't verify any of my theories if you know the source material. I'm gonna keep repeating it because I wanna be safe from spoilers. Please don't spoil me. Additional context, cool. Spoilers, not cool. Keep that in mind. Subscribe to the channels so you get notified of future releases, not only Sabikui Bisco, but also Those Frontline, Tokyo 24-ku, Arifureta Season 2, and Symphogear. Symphogear Season 1 is going to be wrapping up on YouTube soon. On Patreon, it's already wrapped up. The finale is already there, so if you want to watch it, you can support me on Patreon. Link in the description. But I'm going to be starting the future seasons of Symphogear very, very soon, so be on the lookout for that as well. If you wanna support me, you can do it on Patreon. As I mentioned, for just $1 a month, you get a special role on my Discord server. That role gives you access to a channel for patrons only, and also any contribution to my Patreon gets you a place in the credits of every video, so that's cool. For $10 you get early access to non-seasonal shows, which is this season it's Symphogear. Next season it will probably also be Symphogear, maybe something else alongside it. We'll see. Join my Discord server if you want. Link in the description. It's open to everybody, and if you have some spoilery stuff to talk about Sabikui Bisco, you can do it there, because there are spoiler tags on Discord, and you can put in the spoilers, and I won't open them, so I won't be spoiled, but someone who is also well versed in the source material might want to open them and discuss with you, maybe. Share this video if you know someone who would enjoy it. The more you spread the word about my videos, about my channel, the more YouTube itself spreads the word, and that helps me because more people watch it, and I'm happy because people watch my stuff, and I'm making my stuff to be watched, so that's cool. Anything else I need to spill for? I don't think so. I think that's it. My throat is super dry, I'm out of tea, I need to make myself another cup. So, that's gonna be it from me for today. That's gonna be it from me for today. As always, do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits that I mentioned. Not only for $10, but for any sort of contribution, you get to be here.